Canal Ever-Given container freed after several days of struggle. Ethiopian Prime Minister says war is not an option with Sudan as they begin to crack dialogue. Former Bar Association President of the Gambia says Jammeh-Tam lawyers are sworn enemies. These and more coming on The World Today. Stay with us. Good evening, you're watching The World Today with me, Sahna Tunkara, and now to our news in detail. The MV Ever-Given was seen in the Suez Canal on Monday after it was partially refloated and the rear of the ship reportedly dislodged after it blocked one of the world's busiest trade routes for nearly a week. According to authorities, a rescue operation succeeded in partially dislodging the container 400-meter-long ship. The Suez Canal Authority has stated that the Ever-Given has been partially refloated, adding that the operation will continue later on Monday with the high tide, with the route expected to be reopened later today. Peter Badowski, the head of the Dutch company Boskalis, reported that the rear of the ship was freed from the banks of the canal, but however the bow is still firmly stuck, and according to him, dislodging the bow will be more difficult. We'll bring you more updates of that. Now, former president of the Gambia Bar Association, Sheriff Mari Tambedu, said ex-president Yahya Jammeh considered members of the law fraternity as sworn enemies. Tambedu made the remarks before the Truth Commission on Monday. Reports appear to indicate that during his term as president, Jammeh interfered with the country's legal system on several occasions to cement his grip on power. We have more in this report by Khadijatu Seka.
Since the inception of the Gambia Bar Association, it seeks to enlighten a transparent legal environment in the Gambia, in which the rule of law is upheld, access to justice is assured, and the protection and integrity of the legal profession is guaranteed. But under former President Yahya Jammeh's presidency, achieving this objective were a far-fetched dream. Appearing before the Truth Commission, Mr. Tambedu explained the relationship the Bar Association had with the then President Yahya Jammeh. According to Tambedu, when Ami Bensouda took over as the president of the Bar Association, one of her objectives was to create a cohesive relationship between the association and the executive. To Mr. Tambedu, this was not achieved as Jammeh considered the legal practitioners as his enemy.
In my opinion, as far as Jammeh is concerned, there was no mending of fence.
In
your statement, you said this: the former president considered the bar as his sworn enemy. Those are strong words, Mr. Tambedu.
President Jammeh mom nim gisee won lo rek moy ay nonam lañ lolou day kaddu gu deuguer la de.
It was that bad.
Non la boné won.
Well, yes, like I said, from the onset we condemned the coup, and then coincidentally the leader of the opposition party, the UDP, the main opposition party, UDP, Mr. Usainu Dabo, was a lawyer, and this enraged Jammeh.
The former President Jammeh spearheaded a successful coup in 1994, overthrowing the democratically elected government of Sadauda Kairaba Jawara. Mr. Sheriff Tambedu said the Bar Association condemned the coup and demanded the immediate return to constitutional rule. He further asserted that the major steps they eventually took to show their disagreement with the unconstitutional change of government was to boycott the legal year for that year.
The opening of the legal year is traditional in this country, and the head of state normally inaugurates this function.
Bés bi nga xamné ni nak moy bés bi ñuy jaglel pour ubité lu jëm ci mbiri layo ak atté ci réew mi nek na aada lo xamné dañ ko aado ni njiti réew mi moko dé jité.
We knew that he was looking forward to coming to attend this function where all the lawyers would gather and he would address us as the guest or the chief guest of honor.
ñu nag séntu nañ ne jamono jooju mu ngi pare pour ñëw ci jotaay boobu nga xam ne nii dana fa gaaral ay kàddu nga xam ne nii lawyer yëpp ñu ngi toog nga xam ne daal keroog moom sax mooy war a nekk gan ak teraanga gi nga xam ne nii mooy toog ci jotaay boobu.
Lot of lawyers did not attend.
The exact date on which Gambia Bar Association was established is not yet known, but available information indicates that it has been around since the colonial era, making it one of the oldest bar associations in Africa, with its membership based on voluntary professional association of legal practitioners enrolled to practice law in the Gambia. Khadija Seka, iAfrica News.
The Gambia's former Bar Association President, Sheriff Tambedu, said ex-president considered members of the law fraternity as sworn enemies. Now moving on to the global front, the Tunisian health minister has praised the Chinese government for supporting his country's efforts to contain the coronavirus global pandemic. The North African country received another consignment of the Sinopharm vaccine from China as its vaccination program continues. And many African countries have also received medical support from China since the emergence of the novel coronavirus. Details in this report.
The Tunisian Minister of Health says that China has supported his department and backed Tunisia's national efforts to stop the spread of the virus.
I thank the People's Republic of China, the Chinese government and people for this donation that will help Tunisia's vaccination efforts. Friendship and cooperation between Tunisia and China have always been strong and have been strengthened since the outbreak of this disease. China has supported Tunisia by financing and building a military hospital and offered unlimited help and donations.
The Chinese ambassador to Tunisia noted that Beijing and Tunis have historic ties, which have been further deepened since the pandemic hit Africa.
I think that this donation is a new testimony of the sincere friendship between China and Tunisia. The cooperation in the public health sector is exemplary between China and Tunisia. It is one of the most successful cases of cooperation with African nations.
The Director General of Military Health in Tunisia said that the Sinovac vaccine will help protect the population and save lives in the North African state.
We urge Tunisians to register for vaccination. These vaccines are safe and efficient. We will vaccinate public health personnel, medics and paramedics, as well as all frontline workers at COVID-19 centers and other health facilities. We aim to protect the first, the second and third line of defense to ensure success in the fight against the virus.
Tunisian authorities hailed China's call for enhanced solidarity to fight COVID-19, as well as Beijing's willingness to help millions of people around the world.
The Ministry of Health in Tunisia, the Pasteur Institute in Tunis, as well as the COVID-19 task force have approved the use of...
Tension still is ongoing, and Sudanese troops claim they have conquered almost 90% of the land, which they say is historically owned by Khartoum. Ethiopia disagrees and called on Sudan to withdraw its army from the held land. Now, this situation has sparked fears that the two nations may choose war to settle their differences. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, however, says war must not be the option.
The Sudanese are our fraternal neighbors. They have stood alongside Ethiopia and its people in all difficult times. The people of Sudan still love Ethiopia. We do not wish to engage in war, mainly because of the lessons of the conflict with Eritrea. We fought a bloody war with Eritrea, in which hundreds of thousands were killed, and finally the UN took the matter up. If we kill each other now, someday we will be pushed to stop and the same outcomes will be seen. It will be a total loss whether Sudanese or Ethiopians die in this.
Still, Sudan believes the disputed Al-Fashqa, an agricultural area where Ethiopia's northern Amhara and Tigray regions meet, Sudan's eastern Gadaref state, is historically Sudan's territory. Ethiopia, on the other hand, firmly states that a colonial-era deal which set the boundary is not binding.
This issue has been there for a long time. It's a negotiation for demarcation that was held between our Emperor Menelik and the British. That was before Sudan was liberated from colonialism. Then, at the end of the 1950s, at the time of Emperor Haile Selassie, new talks were held and agreement on basic principles were reached. Ever since then, however, the matter remains under discussion.
Prime Minister Abiy further said the two nations have their internal challenge to address first rather than head into full-fledged fighting over a border dispute.
With this current situation, Sudan is not in a position to head to war with the neighboring nation. It has lots of problems, and Ethiopia would also face challenges in going to war with Sudan. Neither of us needs a war. We have chosen peace and dialogue to resolve our issues.
Many countries, as well as the African Union and the UN, have called on Ethiopia and Sudan to address their feud over the border through peaceful means. The latest trial to mediate the two is being made by the United Arab Emirates. Experts say both sides need to work hand in hand to avoid a conflict that could potentially destabilize the entire region.
Coming back home, the new convenient primary and upper basic school has been furnished with a borehole drill to address the water shortage problem in the school campus in Abuko. The intervention was championed by the Oasis Church in the United Kingdom as a measure of goodwill gestures for students in the Gambia.
Water, which helps cells in transportation and usage of substances like oxygen, makes up to more than 60% of the human body, is so important that only 4% of its deficiency is equal to dehydration. It is in this aspect that the UK-based Oasis Church came in support of the school that operates from nursery to upper basic levels with over 700 students. As Pastor Matthew Afolabi explains, the church has for nearly 2 decades been providing pipe-borne water for people in Africa, with New Covenant School being the first target in the Gambia.
This is not the first place we have been doing wells and borehole, especially in Africa, because water is life, and because we want to give back to exactly how to improve and to impact people. We were contacted by an individual in Gambia. I've never been to Gambia before regarding this project, and we decided, okay, we contacted Pastor Forbes, and we decided to come here and establish this one to make an impact in the life of the children. We've been actually going for more than 20 years, in all our parts of the world, but we've never come to Gambia. So as I've said, we've covered people like places like Uganda, Burundi, we've covered places like Ghana, Nigeria.
Mr. Babukar Sar, director of New Covenant School, expresses gratitude to the donors, saying that the borehole will be so beneficial to both the school and the community of Abuko.
As you can see, we just have this land now. We are going to construct, and water is a major input in the construction, and we are also going to provide water to the communities. As you can see, we have a tap outside in the street, which we are going to share with them. But that's the basis for both hygiene and for the construction. So we make sure that whatever happens, there will always be water, for the kids to keep clean, and then that's the essence.
Babagalle Sise, the Alcalo of Abuko, encourages people to value Western education, using the opportunity to commend Oasis Church for the intervention.
We are pleased with this gesture, as we are in a period in which no one should be left out in pursuing Western education. If you have the chance, because it is what controls our generation. We are grateful to those that bring water to the school for the kids. We are really grateful.
Potable water from an improved source is among the minimum standards set by the National Education Policy for a school to operate in the Gambia. The New Covenant School, which was established in 1989, hopes to transfer official operation to the property, where the borehole has been drilled in Abuko, together with its entire student population in the very near future. For iAfrica TV, I am Omar Ahmad Toure.
From that report by Omar Ahmad Toure ends tonight's The World Today newscast. I am Sohna Tunkara. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.
The Gambia may be the smallest country in Africa, but it will host the second largest gathering of world leaders in 2022. To successfully host the OIC summit and put the Gambia on the global stage, the government of the Gambia set up OIC Gambia to mobilize resources for the implementation of key development and infrastructure projects on a scale never seen before. 20 new roads will be constructed across the country, and the Bertel-Harding Highway will be expanded into a dual carriage highway of 2 lanes on each side from the airport to Sting Corner. All people in the city, therefore, an entirely new water system will be constructed, including new transmission and distribution networks to meet the increasing demand, in order to provide a more reliable
ke bara fo nyamune muy la kulloti ndela kullu baluwaldi baluo ha way fo baluo ko loro fanankele ikal loro fanankele
nyin kunne soniata ta www.baluo.com anim baluo isela bulloran jorangol be sang anila kudula asatare mambata jorangol membu ko cementol kenyo babarol nil peruol woninga nyon jamal ta baluo.com yin jorangol be sang ila dinkira bado adungite batala je anim baluo ifangole marate la kudula.
Hello! There's a new update from your favorite GSM operator, Africell.
For all of you that have struggled to buy cash power beyond $7,000, Africell has done it again. The limit to buy cash power is now up to $30,000. Oh yes, $30,000.
Buy all the cash power you want from your AfriMoney account by dialing *777#.
Where Africell goes, nobody dares to follow.
It's an amazing offer. AfriMoney just got way better. The threshold for cash in and cash out on your AfriMoney has been increased.
Where it used to be 10,000 per transaction, now it has been increased to 30,000. Meaning your AfriMoney account, you can now withdraw and deposit up to $30,000 at once.
Cashing in and out just got 3 times easier. For more info, call 777.
Where Africell goes, nobody dares to follow.
Budé da ngay ut ay bunta manam xarañ lol ci IT ak management ndax xam nga ne jàngukaay yu bari ñu ngi fi ci biir Gambia yu melni Science and Technology, Camsys Technology, Inside Training Center ak Sebek College yuy jàngale xam